Okay, terrific. So welcome to Private Practice Course 101, right? So this course is for people who are starting their own private practices, whether they have just been thinking about it, whether they're actually in the planning stage, whether they've started it and are in the refining stage. This course should be helpful to you, okay? And so my name is Amira Martin. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I know some of you, through social media or through working with you or through my company or through prior projects or programs. I'm a Black woman entrepreneur. I'm a mother, a Mima, which is really just, a nice way to say grandma, but I feel too young to use that word. Sister, friend, and partner. And I founded a company called MA Therapy. I'm also an adjunct professor with Columbia University School of Social Work and with SUNY. So I started MA Therapy in 2011. I was working as a director with a nonprofit. I enjoyed my work, but there was something that was missing for me, right? Like this wasn't exactly what I wanted to do. I did see room for growth and those opportunities were there, but they came with a catch, right? And so for me, that catch was not necessarily being able to do what I truly wanted to do and what I was really most passionate about, right? So I started MA Therapy. So the Saturday job that I gave myself, right? So I would see maybe 6 clients on the Saturday, occasional workshops, speaking engagements, that sort of thing. So right now our company has 4 divisions. We provide BIPOC and primarily Black therapists. We also have speakers, diversity, equity, and inclusion professionals. We do training and workshops, and I'm also offering private practice coaching. So, again, I started off with myself and then added 1 therapist, and now we have about 50 therapists. We're serving all of New York State, and we're also expanding. We're seeing clients in Maryland and New Jersey currently. So my why, right? So we all have to think about our why, right? So for me, why did I go into this field? Well, a couple of reasons. One, there was untreated mental illness in my own family. There was a long legacy of family substance abuse, teen pregnancy, and finally, teen homelessness, which put me in contact with the very systems that I would later learn to navigate professionally. When I got into the nonprofit world, what did I find, right? I found that all of these organizations, which I had expected to kind of be a bit of a safer space for, for lots of different people, for diversity, considering the work that we do, all that good stuff, I expected a little bit more than what I had received, right? So while these organizations were good and they did really good work, they also struggled with a lot of the isms that everywhere else does, right? So racism, sexism, classism, homophobia, you know, people being discriminated based on size, like all of the same isms were in these places that I worked that were everywhere else, right? And it got really hard for me sometimes to navigate some of that. Also, there was a really modest salary, right? So I could not create the lifestyle that I wanted. I could not provide the lifestyle to my family that I wanted, working in these sorts of places, right? So, and also it just wasn't my passion. It wasn't truly feeding my heart, okay? So I decided to go ahead and look into private practice. So my how, right? Here I was, no one in my circle had done this before. No one could identify with had fully transitioned into or was fully running private practice and doing that as a standalone, right? And there was really no one who was full-time in this work that was willing to teach me. I was kind of trying to figure stuff out on my own. It was a real challenge. When I explored private practice coaching, I found that the costs were really, really high. So like $2,000 to $3,000 per month, often included a separate retainer fee. I could not afford that. So I, from the ground, I researched, I explored, I hired individual supervisors. I started off slow. I really started to get into this. So I want to ask you all, if anyone wants to introduce themselves and talk.
I'll start if nobody else wants to. So my name is Julie. I work with Amira. I've been working with Amira since August of last year. So we're quickly coming up on my 1 year with the company. I'm excited to learn about how to really build a practice. Because I did take another training. Like Amira said, they are very expensive. That kind of talked about finding and attracting aligned clients, but not how to start a business. So the training I took was for people who already have a business. I was like, well, I don't have one. I'll figure that out afterward. But so that one was really helpful for like the attracting clients, running your business, managing your money, marketing, all of that. But I have no clue how to like start from the ground up. Like what paperwork needs to be filed? Like, how much money do you put aside for your taxes, or how do you find a tax person? Because every other job I've had before this was like a W-2, where it's like I could do my own taxes on TurboTax because I'm really not touching that much money, so it's fine. So I'm just really excited to learn like how to start from the ground up, and I actually really enjoyed hearing Amira's story, how you literally started all of this like with no help. I think that's really admirable, and I'm excited to learn from you and learn more about how to do that too.
Terrific. Thank you. Wonderful. We'll definitely cover that. Who else? Anybody else wants to introduce themselves and talk about what they're looking to get?
Private practice. I didn't know how or when. So I did a lot of other things. I did foster care. I did supportive housing. I was in a school for the last 3-4 school years. And then I don't know how it happened, but I got a phone call in February. Somebody said, I know this person, speak to her. And then from then on, it's been history, as they say. So it just felt like the right time. And it really does feel like the right time now, because a lot of Black men are talking about mental health now. It seems like it's conversation. Everybody's willing to have this conversation. Everybody's open to talking about it now. So I feel like I started doing this at the right time. So now my biggest fear was starting, but now that I feel like I have started, it's just like, can I continue to earn? And am I going to be able to live off of this and not worry about nobody coming to see me next month and not having a way to pay my rent and stuff like that. So, I feel good. I'm very optimistic about it. It's just, still the nervousness of just going for it is where I am now.
Yeah, absolutely. Because
and a lot of issues with taxes and money and all of that stuff too.
Yeah.
Of course.
Absolutely. You're doing it, but you want to see, is this going to last, right? Is this for real? So definitely we'll talk about that. And I'm sure it is for real. Anyone else want to introduce themselves?
Counseling, mental health counseling. And like I said, I work in hospitals 17 years and I never had my own private practice. So thank you for this day, this seminar.
You're more than welcome, Rory. And thank you. I'm glad you're here. Absolutely.
Good morning, Amira. So this is Shaniqua. I'm sorry, my camera's not working. But I just want to commend you and give you your flowers. I've been with Amira since the very start. And I think there's no one better to learn from on how to start from the ground up. I remember being her only therapist in her living room, in the basement, just making it happen. And just seeing where she is today is just amazing. So there's no one better to learn from. So I'm excited to be here and just take all the gems that you have for us.
Thank you so much, Shaniqua. You make me want to cry, but thank you. I so appreciate you and everything that you've contributed to us. Thank you.
I'm Viviana. I was blessed to meet Amira through my NIAC college sister, who told me she was working with Amira. And I am so grateful because I've been a not-for-profit for over 10 years now. But I'm a recent social worker. I got my LMSW in 2020 of January, but I knew, just as the beautiful young lady who was just speaking earlier, that I wanted to do social work. But I come from a family who never really took on a role of a social worker or anything of that sort. To the people in my family, like hands-on worker. And I want to share with you guys that I've asked at the many places I've worked for guidance. And I know there's a not-for-profit, not many people willing to share. So the fact that Amira is such a breath of fresh air for me, because Amira gives me hope that, there is someone who's going to share their realm of knowledge and not be afraid to do so. I don't know what it is, but I feel like in not-for-profit, there's a lot of like competition among ourselves, Black and Brown sisters. And the fact that we have somebody else speaking up to get a lot of us there is phenomenal. And I just want to say thank you. And I just wanted to share that.
Thank you so much, Viviana. I so appreciate you. And I'm glad that we can do this together. I really am. It's my pleasure. Okay, terrific. So we will begin with the course. This has been terrific. I love hearing about each of you and where you are with this, and I so appreciate each of you. Okay, so now I'm going to share the screen so we can get back to that. All right. So here's the course outline. So first, we're going to talk about lesson 1, organization type, actually forming your organization. How are you going to bring in profit? What's your organization going to be? We're going to talk about taxes, banking, and accounting. We're going to look at malpractice insurance. We're going to talk about supervision, and we're also going to talk about your ideal client. Then we're going to go on to talk about your therapy space, marketing, documentation, your business plan, and exit strategy, okay? And this is the exit strategy from your current position, okay? And again, just as a reminder, I will send you a PDF document with all of this information at the end so that you have it and you can access it on your own time, okay? So if you take notes, great, but you don't need to unless there's something that really, that you really know you need to focus on or understand better. So first, your organization type, right? So you want to think about, do you want to form a professional limited liability company, a limited liability company, a sole proprietorship, or an S Corp? What are some of the differences, right? So a professional limited liability company, this allows you to operate within your profession, what you are licensed for. It does not allow you to do anything else. So if you will have a PLLC and you want to do things outside of direct, client service, you won't be able to do some of the broader things with a PLLC. If you know for sure you want an individual or group practice serving clients and that's what you want it to be long-term, a PLLC is fine. An LLC, you can do the individual or group practice as well as, additional things like coaching, creating courses, or you can do courses also with the PLLC, but marketing, merchandise, trips. If you want to someday create a getaway package for clients and give them therapy throughout the event, LLC is great for anything that you would like to do. Sole proprietorship, now this requires no paperwork, no documentation, except for forming a separate bank account where you're going to put your income, right? Sole proprietorship is based on your social security number and just having a social security number operating via your name. So I would be Amira Martin, it's my company name, right? And I would open up a personal bank account in the bank under my same name, and all of the income that I earn doing the practice would just go into that bank account. An S corporation is good if you have a large volume of income. If you're really bringing in a lot of income, I would say a minimum 80,000 a year or more, then it might be worth it to do an S corporation. You want to make sure you have a good income before you're doing that, because there are all sorts of fees. There are attorney fees, there are accountant fees, there's reporting quarterly to the government about your earnings. There's a lot of work involved. And the PLLC, LLC, S corporation are all formed through the Department of State, through their website, which I'm going to send you in the PDF, just by filing your articles of organization, one which is really a form you just fill out, along with I believe it's a $200 money order these days, a $200 check. Once you get your paperwork back, then you have to get it published. There are going to be organizations contacting you to say, hey, we understand you have filed your articles of incorporation, we can do your publishing. If you want to do your publishing yourself, then you can identify with the state the newspapers that you would need to publish in, okay? So in total, if you're a self-starter, filing and choosing your organization type can cost you $0 with a sole proprietorship, except for the fee to open up individual personal bank account. With a PLLC, LLC, or S Corp, about $300 if you want to do this on your own. If you want to, and I should also add, for PLLC, LLC, and S Corp, you have to open up a business bank account where, again, all funds that you earn are going to go into this. Okay, I'm trying to go a little fast because I know I slotted it for an hour and I don't want us to go too much over. All right, so any questions about this? Okay, so taxes, banking, and accounting, right? So again, if you have an S Corp, PLLC, LLC, you need a business bank account. If a sole proprietorship, you just need a personal bank account. You can set up what's really super easy is QuickBooks. There are also other programs that you can explore, and I'll send them to you in that PDF document. Plan to play it safe by setting aside 30% of your practice income for taxes, which you'll pay at the end of the year. Okay. Cool. If you have an S corporation, your tax setup can be a bit different, but that's really detailed, so I'm not going to go too much into that. But again, business bank account for everything except for a sole proprietorship. Sole proprietorship, you open up a personal bank account. QuickBooks is the easiest and fastest option. Okay. 30% of your income you should set aside for taxes. More than likely, you won't have to use all of it, and you can start to use some of that as a cushion of savings for your business. So malpractice insurance, right? Does anyone have malpractice insurance currently that they're aware of through their job or? Yep.
I do.
Okay. And do you remember the process of purchasing it? Did you get it on your own, or did your job provide it?
My own. Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
No
Yeah.
problem.
so I
Yeah.
got it on my own. I'm a licensed mental family therapist, and they offered us discount. So I just went on the website and got it through there. It was really simple.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Terrific, Adeline. Adeline, do you remember what you paid for it annually?
Honestly, I think it's like 85.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah, an electronic health record, some really good systems, therapynotes.com, where you can also do your billing, simplepractice.com, you can do your billing and notes as well. And you can also create your website and lots of other things, client scheduling, on and on through Simple Practice. Okay. Let's see. What's next? Your business plan. So you're going to use all of the information that we talked about today to create your business plan. This is going to feed your business plan. You have the nuts and the bolts now. You have a lot of the information you need, but you still want to create a business plan. A business plan is key. A business plan can be useful in other ways. And so you do want to create it. And I am going to do a part 2 of this webinar where I will walk people through their business plan after they've done the part 1 of the information that we just covered. Okay. And finally, your exit strategy. So you're going to leave where you are, right? That's the goal. You don't want to necessarily talk about it immediately, but you do at some point want to begin to talk about it. Okay. I'd say when you're at the place where you started your part-time practice, you don't necessarily want to say, hey, I started a practice, I'm leaving, right? But you want to, when you've made some headway and you're seeing clients and you're getting to the point where you're thinking about leaving, it is good to put some voice to that, right? Like, not I'm thinking about leaving, but again, at some point I'm interested in private practice work or just something so that you put it out there, right? And you're doing this because you want to have a good exit strategy. You want your your current employer to become a potential referral source, especially if you're working in a place where your ideal client lies, in a place where they actually can refer to you. You want to be able to, ideally, if possible, leave them with a positive taste in their mouth about you, right? So when you're partially there, partially at the place of leaving, you want to be putting some voice to your goals. When you're closer to leaving, you want to have an open discussion about your next steps, right? I would say when you're really earning a good amount, you feel good about like the potential of leaving soon, then I would start to have some discussion with my supervisor about my next steps. And finally, you want to give notice when you're ready, right? And ideally, you want to give as much notice as you can that feels right and is like appropriate for what you're doing. So I know when I left, I gave, I think, 6 weeks notice. You don't have to do that, but at the very minimum, you want to give what the organization expects and asks. You don't want to just walk off, right? Okay, any questions about that? We're about to end. All right, so thank you all so much for your time. I'm going to send you the PDF document with all of these detailed places and tools and tips. And I'm going to also include my link here, my MailChimp link, where you can sign up for additional free webinars. You know, it's a listserv basically. So you sign up, you'll get information on when the next webinars are beginning, training, tips and tools, all therapy and private practice relating there. And I'll also have some information about the coaching that I do there. But thank you all so much for today. And I really appreciate all of you showing up today and being part of this with me. Okay, so you all get the follow-up email with the information. I'd love to be in touch with you, and this was really great. So thank you.
Thank you, Amira. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Amira.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank Everybody. you so much.
Terrific. You're welcome.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank